Imagine finally finding someone who loves you as you are. And after so many painful attempts to find love, this person is right by your side and wants to be with you. So what is it in traumatized people that the presence of someone this good can shut you down? That's not good for relationships. But the better things go, the more you feel numb and detached and like it's not even real. My letter today is from a woman I'll call Wendy. And she writes, "Hi, Anna. I'm 26 with CPTSD and I'm having issues connecting in my relationship. I grew up with an extremely emotionally and occasionally physically abusive mother who kidnapped me at the age of 7 from my father." Wow. The abuse would get so bad, at one point it became life-threatening. I spent most of my life with her until I was 14, suffering. My father tried to get me back, but custody is not always easy, and at 14 I advocated to live with my father the majority of the time, to the increased vitriol of my mother. When I moved in with my father, I also gained an emotionally cold and jealous stepmother who openly disliked me, which has left me with additional abandonment wounds from both her and even my father for not stepping in. In that same year, I lost a grandfather who was a longtime father figure to me. I was blessed, however, to find my best friend that same time too, and for the first time and only time in my life, I felt so seen and loved. With this friend, dealing with what had happened to me suddenly became possible. Unfortunately, he has since died due to his struggle with addiction in 2020. I've spent the last 18 years in therapy, and about the last 8 years of that really working on my CPTSD. In the last 3 years, I've really begun to flourish, and my life is so full and happy with friends and love and kindness. You wouldn't believe it, Anna. I'm believing you, Wendy. I believe you. And I'm so proud of where I am. I am even in school to become a marriage and family therapist, and I have a steady job, something I never thought possible for me. So rewind to last year, and I think I may have met the man of my dreams. This is not my first relationship. I've had many before, mostly bad, but this one is different. He's kind, he's caring, and loving in a way I've never experienced. He's the most honest man I know, and he is so much like me. He's not angry, and he gets me in a way I only ever had once before, with my dear friend who died in the past. I feel seen. I feel like I've met someone who loves the way I do, and he's helped me so much to grow. To be fair, it wasn't always perfect. We started off as friends with benefits. We realized early on we had a beautiful friendship and I fell hard, except he was non-committal, so I cut it off with him in November and we kept our friendship at a distance. But eventually we realized we wanted to be with each other and he asked me to be his girlfriend. And he's now fully committed and I believe him because the man speaks with his actions and not his words. And what an incredible change that is from my past. We began officially dating about 2 months ago, but here's the problem. I cannot help but feel wildly disconnected a good majority of the time. Yeah, it seems to ebb and flow. Like some days are good and some days are bad, but when it happens, it feels like my body and mind are somewhere else. And it hurts me because I love him so much, but I'm ashamed about what is happening. I plan to tell him soon and let him know what I've been feeling. I know he'll be understanding, but I don't know how to fix this. I've noted this seems to happen in our most intimate and kind moments. Whether it's loving sex or when he says something so sweet and kind that I don't even know what to do, and the feelings in me seem to become so overwhelming, I pull away to somewhere else where he cannot touch me. It feels like trauma is once again stealing away from me the most precious moments in my world. It's like my body is rejecting the love and I do not know how to let it in. Can you please help me? I want to feel connected with my partner and I'm afraid of losing something good. Wendy. All right, Wendy. I really understand you. And first of all, I'm really proud of you for your life coming together as you have. You had this very tough childhood, and here you are. You've been working on yourself. You have a career in place. You have a good job, and now you've met somebody really nice. Boy, are you not the first person with complex trauma to have trouble opening up to the love of a good person. And there is a way that you can increase the chances that you can handle this, that you can not screw it up and give yourself the time and space to let your feelings evolve. It's really normal to feel detached or even dissociated in the presence of love. And if you think about it, like, when did you have a chance to feel comfortable there? It's pretty intense. When somebody really loves you, what's different is when you've only been with unstable people, and it sounds like you may have been only with unstable people, there's kind of a built-in escape hatch. On some level, you know it can't work out. And so all of your own fear of commitment, all of your own fear of closeness and attachment and being accepted and potentially losing the other person, that's all undeveloped in you. You never really had to deal with that. I was surprised too when I got married to a good guy. It was kind of my first time somebody really was going to stay, and has. And I ended up having these weird, pulling away feelings. And I had no idea that was coming. I had spent so much of my life, if I just had the guy who really loved me, if we could just get married, everything would be great. And overall, in the long run, it is great, but boy, did I have a lot of adjusting to do. So I hear you. I think it's okay what's happening to you. Possibly it's a sign you're not into it, but you're right. This is a precious thing. You don't want to mess it up. And here's what you can do. So when you told me you've only been really dating for 2 months, and I know you've been friends for a long time, but you've been only dating for 2 months, I wondered if perhaps you've gotten very enmeshed already, maybe always staying together every night, always talking about the future. Sometimes what we need is to be Victorian about dating, to go very slowly, to not make assumptions about the future, and to go very carefully, both parties, with grand statements about, this is like the love of my life. This is the best thing that's ever happened. I've met the man of my dreams. To know if somebody's the person of our dreams takes about 2 years. And so sometimes we can really pressure the intimacy and the relationship by sort of declaring something, it's totally great, and the only right response to it is to go all in real fast, right? That is such a trauma person thing to do. And it feels right in the moment, and it feels like betrayal if you can't do it, and it's hard to pace yourself. It's hard to pace yourself, especially once sex is happening. It's very hard to pace the relationship, but it's so important that you do. Is that you pace your closeness, you pace your expectations. So for a lot of us, it's very hard to keep perspective on the pace of a relationship without artificial structure. So I teach this thing called structured dating. And even if a relationship has progressed to total enmeshment, all the time is together, you can take a step back very lovingly and reassuringly and not be living together and not be spending every night together, and maybe limiting, at this stage of the relationship, spending 2 or 3 evenings together. And one of those is like a weekend day, but it's not the whole weekend and it's not every day. You didn't tell me where you are with that, but I'm just going to tell you, this has been so helpful in my life, and it's what allowed me to have a good relationship. There's a lot of growing and adjustment that needs to happen for people to come together in a real way. It's a lot. And especially if they've already been through the ringer on a relationship or two, which you have. That's a lot to go through. That's a lot to go through, and there's trust issues, and what works out trust issues is not one conversation. It's the repeated experience day after day from hanging out and taking a little outing and going to the grocery store, and fixing a tire and having a problem and having an argument. And all of those things start to add up for your knowledge and grounded in reality kind of trust that you have in another person. And as that trust builds, then you may find that your kind of spiritual, physical, mental attraction to him begins to open up. There's a risk that it's not going to be there, that he's just a friend and you like the idea of the romance, and it's calling to you because he feels romantic feelings, so that there is that risk. And it will be sad for everybody if that's the case, but there's no really good way forward except to find out if you return these feelings. It's plenty of times that is what's true when the feelings are allowed to evolve. I really would like you to give yourself this chance. I think whatever comes of it is going to be very helpful to you to be able to relax in the courtship phase and resist the total enmeshment, grand, great love picture that we want to put on relationships sometimes. It takes time to get to know somebody, and that's what dating is for. Can you do it? I hope you can. So these problems of pacing and attachment and grieving and dissociation even, where we check out from emotional realities, are all things that come with trauma. And some of them are well-known trauma symptoms. And if you'd like to know if you are showing signs that childhood trauma is manifesting in your adult life, I've got a bunch of the symptoms listed. It's a quiz you can take. You can download it for free right here, and I will see you very soon.